And we are live.
All right, I am unmuting in the Discord.
So
And let me get into the Leo chat. And yes, we are live streamed. I was actually turning it's a good thing we have the YouTube, because I was turning some people in the Woo community onto LeoFinance. I was surprised that they were not familiar with it.
we actually did a podcast with them too.
Yeah, so it's kind of baffling. But I was like, yeah, you can watch previous AMAs on YouTube and catch up on all the things.
All of the things.
Well, we're right on schedule, because I was telling people like 12:45. So here we are at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, too much pre-show. We got the pre-show, we got the pre-show.
Well, yeah, there was pre-stuff before the pre-show.
Right.
Things popped
All
up.
the pre-shows.
I mean, sometimes opportunity knocks and you gotta take a moment to check it out.
Right.
So I was scrambling myself. I had some things popping off between different things I'm in, some of which you are familiar with, and some new things I'm trying to get in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not miss the boat on things like I have in days gone past, kind of like I did with like Splinterlands. So looking at some of these other new DApp games and trying to get involved, although capital's starting to dry up. All that stable coin I had is getting spent faster than I can fucking keep up.
That's how it goes. Yeah, I mean, it's too early to announce anything, but we might have some cool opportunity for Cub and Polycub. But we will see how things progress.
Yes, that is the ultimate
very early chatter.
Very early tease.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's make Cat rich. That's all I care about.
This could make everyone in Leo very rich. That's for sure.
Self-serving comments.
Announcements are out.
That is the goal for 2023. Look out for the cat.
Look out for the cat.
Last couple years, I mean, me looking out for the cause of everyone else. I got all sorts of shifting going on. In fact, even with like all Alchemist Nation and stuff, probably actually launching an official podcast there.
Really?
Which is going to be, yeah, that'll be cool, because it'll be like more legit actual podcast, and be able to get a few relatively decent sized guests that are in the real estate space. Maybe I can bring them over to the crypto side.
Bring them over to the dark side.
Do something with all that real estate money they got and all that influence they got.
Smart.
So, yep. Outside of that, just investing in Ponzi schemes.
How life goes, everything's a Ponzi scheme.
Everything's a Ponzi scheme.
The US dollar is the biggest one.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think I told you though, like I legit jumped in something like last week that 100% is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
I figure it's early enough. You can make money on Ponzi schemes as long as you get in early. I mean, if they want to allegedly pay me 25% per month, play it till it breaks.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
If anyone wants in, let me know. Not financial advice. Invest at your own risk. Pyramid schemes are great until the pyramid collapses. But we got the crowd building. See, all I had to do, it's like saying Beetlejuice. All I had to do is say Ponzi scheme, and all of a sudden people come running.
That's funny.
We got Summertooth in the house, more tea. Jon Snow. Hey, Jay Fuji from at least I know him from the Woo community.
Nice,
oh boy,
nice.
Addicted's here. There goes the neighborhood. Deep research. I'm actually not familiar with who you are. Welcome. Dagger 212, Blue Robo, Blackheart, Abdex. We got some familiar names and some new names. I like it. A little more intimate than last week, but we are an hour late. And obviously last week was the new UI launch, which is going off pretty well. And
Yeah, I say let's talk about that.
that's what I was saying. And I know we have updates. I know there's going to be more features rolled out this week on the alpha site for those of you guys that have been using the alpha new UI site. I will admit that I'm still mainly using the old site, and I go to the alpha site like once a day. Usually I'll post like my thread, which Cat's been threading every day. Thread life hashtag. I'm going to make it a thing.
Yep, you got to do it every single day.
I got to be threading right now. Live threads. I got thread life, baby. I'm telling you, thread life. It's going to be a trending tag. I even did a meme with Bonnie Stinson. Thread life. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah. So a Nomad Soul actually sent me some cool charts. I haven't had a chance just because it's been a busy morning, but I'm going to write a LeoFinance post using his charts and the growth of threads. So today is Tuesday, right? Last Tuesday, the 14th, is when we launched the new UI into open alpha. So it's been exactly 7 days now. And in this short 7-day period of time, we have seen a 50% growth in monthly active users. So prior to, and we've talked a lot about monthly active users just because, this year is going to be, especially with Project Blank finally kind of coming into reality. This year's focus is going to be heavily on onboarding and finally taking our monthly active users and growing it. Like it's been up to this point, we've been focused on, building tech, building infrastructure, building deeper community. Now is time to go for width. It's time to go for more users and better onboarding. And now that the open alpha is live and we're going to move it to production, in the very near sooniverse, the new UI has the capability to bring in a lot of people. So I'm definitely excited to see, what we can achieve this year. And just judging by what we've been able to do since the new UI launched, I think it goes to show that we actually can do this. So prior to the new UI going live, we had about 500 monthly active users on threads, and now we're pushing over 750. So we have literally a 50% growth in monthly active users, which is insane. And that's in 7 days. So, just literally in the first week of doing all of this, we're seeing a lot of growth. Some of you already know about all the Crew 3 stuff, but there's basically like a private, huge marketing initiative that we're working on. Eric's been doing like an amazing job with that. And people are like blown away by what he's built with this Crew 3. I can't speak. Crew 3 thing. That's a tongue twister.
Fast.
Yeah. And so it's like, that is in like the private version. It's not even really live yet. Like we're basically just testing it, right? So it's already creating a lot more engagement. Like Eric just said, like the when soon audience is 2x. The Twitter engagement has been super high, threads engagement super high. Just basically across the board, we just have a lot more activity. And when that thing goes public and we have like the real full launch, I think things are just going to get really crazy. And then coincide that with, having the Leo Infra onboarding, like Facebook Lite logins, Twitter Lite accounts for Hive, all of that stuff, just that really easy onboarding process. I think the path to 5,000 monthly active users isn't going to seem so hard anymore. And we might even have to like move that goalpost a little bit. But it's like, just seeing us go from 500 to 750 is very encouraging, especially in a bear market where, and Dolls posted a bunch of charts about a month ago talking about the Hive UIs throughout 2022. And, basically every single Hive app and UI lost users in 2022, except for LeoFinance. We remained flat. So we did not lose any users in this bear market. And now we've actually grown by 50%. So pretty crazy if you really, stop and think about it. So what we really need to do now is, keep grinding away. From a team perspective, we're adding features. You guys have already seen some of the features we've added just in this past week since the alpha UI went live. Feels like it's been live for more than a week. It feels crazy that it's only been a week. But yeah, we added like account switching. We added that post button that you see now. We did a bunch of bug fixes. I think there were about 8 or 9 of them. We added some features to the explore page. And then we had to do, there's been, and I talked about it in a LeoFinance post yesterday, but there's been so many people using threads that we actually had to scale the infrastructure faster than we expected that we were going to have to. So we've actually had to shift a little bit of focus away from features and put it on infrastructure, just to make sure that we scale and you guys don't experience any downtime or, slowness from there being so many threads. So it's pretty crazy. I think the daily thread count is up like 5x, just in the past like month and a half. So that's pretty wild. Basically just everything is looking great. I mean, it's in a bear market to have things looking this good, I think is a really good sign. So the focus is building out the tech, getting the UI, if you look at it from a broad perspective, getting the UI from open alpha where it is right now to production. And the path there is basically we're going to keep adding features every week, and then you guys will keep testing them, giving us good feedback. And then once all the features are out, then we move from open alpha to production. And then that's from the tech side, getting to production is a big deal. And then from there, we launched that Crew 3 full campaign, and a Nomad Soul starts hitting those monthly active user targets every quarter. And then, we make our way to 5,000 by December. And, what I think is going to happen is I really believe that we're going to achieve 5,000 by December. Just proving that we went from 500 to 750 inside of, a month and a half, 6 weeks, is really crazy. And that's without really much like public activity. That is just like a signal to me that we're going to be able to do the 5,000 by the end of the year. And in a bear market, we get to 5,000. Bull market, I think we all know that the bull market is going to hit at some point. And, if it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. We're going to grind in more users as we kind of progress through the bear market. And then when the bull market hits, I think we're going to be really well positioned to capitalize on, both in terms of, token price, which, every crypto asset capitalizes on the bear to bull cycle. But mainly from a user perspective, I think what's really interesting to me is like, if we have 5,000 monthly active users in a bear market, when the bull market hits, that could become 50,000 pretty quickly, just because of the way that people kind of flock in and out. Even if you just look at Hive activity easily 2 or 3x grows in a bull market compared to a bear market, because people are just more interested in crypto. The earnings are higher because the price is higher. All sorts of good stuff happens in a bull market.
Indeed. As I write the recap post on the fly. So you said for the things that have been added since last week, there's the account switching. What was some of the other things you mentioned?
There was account switching, about 8 or 9 bug fixes, and some explore page updates. What else we got? There were some publishing UI updates that we did to make the publishing UI better. Pretty much it. Definitely primarily focused on bug fixes, but the account switching feature is super nice. I've been using that a lot.
Cool.
Addicted said, how will we compete with such amazing Web 2 opportunities like paying $8 to $12 a month for artificial boosts to engagement?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Zuckerberg wants your $8 a month.
The way we'll compete is by launching a undercut model. So ours is going to be $5 a month.
Oh, I thought it was just by the fact that people can get paid for their content.
Well, and you get paid. So you
Instead
pay
of
$5, but in the end, you earn more than the $5. So it's a net gain.
It's awesome. Boom, boom. All right.
Yeah, but basically the gist of it is we've seen 50% growth in monthly active users in the last 7 days, and the amount of threads created per day has grown 5x in, since the beginning of 2023. And the alpha UI is officially live. Things are looking good for the Leoverse. Yeah, Taskmaster said on threads, growth is good, but with 750 users, 2,400 threads per day is very pathetic. That's true. I mean, I think a lot of the people that are using threads could definitely use threads more. I do think there's a little bit of a learning curve to like incorporate it in your day-to-day Hive usage, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's a couple power users and then everyone else kind of trickles in and out. So kind of on similar lines, Dagger 212 asked, speaking of scaling, can this go to 5,000 users overnight without breaking? How many threads per day per hour can be handled right now? Right now we are handling the current 2,500 threads per day with no problem and 750 monthly active users. There have been, we haven't reached the ceiling, but we've done things to raise the ceiling in the past week from a scaling perspective, just to make sure that, we keep things like, I would say right now we're at probably like 30% capacity. Like if we just overnight grew from 750 to, 2,000 monthly active users, and we went from 2,500 threads a day to 7,500, we would have no problem scaling. So, but I think at that point we would start to see that ceiling we would be getting closer to that ceiling, but then there's a lot of things we could do on our back end to scale that and raise that ceiling. And long term, when we start to get to the perspective of like, let's say we're doing 50,000 threads per day, when we start to get to kind of like some crazy numbers, we actually have to do kind of like this full infrastructure flip, but we already have that planned and we're already working on it. So, I'm not really concerned. That's going to be a great problem to have. And when that problem hits, we're already prepared for it. We built threads to be very scalable. Like it's like that's what we spent so much time on, right? Is like, how can we build this thing to be a minimum viable product, but also be ready to layer on scaling? That was always our mindset from the beginning. So. Yeah, Nomad Soul said the 750 that he counted are only people using threads. That doesn't include long form content. And there's plenty of people who only create long form, only, comment on long form. So.
Indeed.
Pretty good.
I was one of those people until the Lions pressured me into threading. And now I have to embrace my ADD and thread it up. #thread life.
Yeah, Taskmaster. Yeah, we can handle 7,500 per day easily. I think we could probably handle a lot more than that too, but that's just my, conservative guess, is that if we had 7,500 per day, we would still have no problem.
Nice. Self-help has joined in the threads addiction recently.
Yeah, how to prevent threads from becoming post promotion, kind of like a post promotion channel on Discord. I don't think it's a problem to have some, but that there's a lot of people that are going to spam it. Jay Fuji. Yeah, sorting, filtering is going to be key. Adding different features that allow you to sort better is going to be key. Right now, it's not really an issue because there are a lot of threads being posted per day, but if you're scrolling, you can scroll through a whole day worth of threads in, 15-20 minutes. So right now it's not exactly an issue. But a couple of the things that we're working on right now are one of them is lists. And I think, we're basically just copy pasting that from Twitter, but Twitter lets you basically take certain people that you follow and put them into a list. And then actually Elon, since he took over Twitter, added the feature where you can like slide through your list very easily. So you can like change your feed quickly. So we're adding essentially the same feature where you'll be able to create a list of people and then you'll be able to slide through them. And the other thing I want to do is also have curated lists. So, let's say this is something I wish Twitter had. Let's say that you want to follow people who talk about Bitcoin pretty frequently in their threads. Imagine if there was a Bitcoin list that was created and someone, people from the community can basically upload a list. And then those lists can get featured as like list templates. And then you can say, okay, well, this list was created to basically bring a feed of like hashtag Bitcoin content, right? So, kind of cool stuff like that, like where you can kind of modular, you can make your experience very modular and have some good filtering. But yeah, I mean, if you look at Twitter, I'd say like it really depends on what your feed looks like, but I would say a very large percentage of tweets are actually just links to articles and stuff like that. The only thing that would get annoying is like if people are just posting links with no words, like they're not, what people do on Twitter is like they'll post a link to an article, but they'll take like their favorite snippet from it or like a quick synopsis and put that in the tweet as well. So like if you don't want to read the article, but like, you kind of want to headline read it and then read what the person thought was interesting from it. That's cool.
That's
but yeah, I think there's
Twitter is. I mean, honestly, like
Yeah.
I don't actually follow a lot of people on Twitter, which I kind of like, because when I go on there, like there's a few crypto heads I follow, and basically that's what it is. It'll be like, XYZ, and then a link to the article that basically, they're referencing their kind of synopsis and their kind of hypothesis on, why they may or may not like a project.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay Fuji has some good ideas. Yeah, like if someone's username matches the username, you could hide it. Like I said, I don't really see that as a problem right now, but it definitely could be, especially if someone creates like bots and stuff to share content. Now that you have the Gosh token that launched from the Posh team, you could definitely start to see people who just kind of abuse it, post too many links. Yeah, anything that can be botted will. Yeah, for sure. It's
Well,
not a
that's been
problem
big
right
problem.
now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but that's been a big problem with Twitter, and that's like, people are kind of like throwing shade on Elon because, he was talking about just taking Twitter and then, making it completely open and, free speech and no censorship, blah, blah, blah. But basically the opposite has happened because of bots. So that's always an interesting dynamic, because I guess in the end, it's like bots, they're great and they're terrible all at the same time.
Right.
They ruin things socially, but they're very useful on the back end. So yeah, I mean, that's not a problem now. And you know what? I'm looking forward to that problem, because if it is a problem, that means we have a shit ton of users and a crap ton of threads.
Exactly. Good problem to
And
have.
yeah, and the reality is, it's like you almost want to recreate the same problems as Twitter, because just the fact, I think people are just getting fed up and starting to realize, like, they're basically just a nipple, so to speak, for all these social medias. And
Yeah.
I think if you can literally, I mean, at a bare minimum, if you give someone the exact same experience as they already have on Twitter, but it's on chain and they're actually getting crypto for it, I think that alone will eventually push the masses, because we're slowly starting to see this shift where even like normies are starting to like be like, well, this is bullshit. Now you want to charge me for things. And so it's one thing to have them earn off your content, but now it's like pay to play. It's like, yeah, not so much. Especially if you can't get like a pay to play game is fine, because you can win shit.
Right.
You can win money, you can win skins, you can win whatever it is, depending on the game, right? But when you're talking about social media, you don't win anything. You're basically paying money to hang out. So, so to speak, it's like all of a sudden Twitter and Facebook became the cool kids. You got to show up with a pack of cigarettes. Otherwise you can't hang out in the circle outside the high school.
Yeah. Well, and that's the really cool thing about the way that the Hive blockchain works. And I was talking to Addicted about this yesterday, but I don't know if it was from what he messaged me or from his post, but either one. He either messaged it to me or it was in his post from yesterday. That you don't need, like on Facebook and Twitter, they have to add something where people have to pay so that they can get rid of bots and like dox people, right? But on Hive, the cool thing is you have these pseudonymous accounts, and then instead of having people pay, they actually just have to have resource credits, which is like another way of having them pay. But the cool thing is, as a project, we can delegate out resource credits to people, and we can have certain filters. So like, if you go inactive for a month, we pull your resource credits. And then if you become active again, we give you resource credits back. Or, and all sorts of different things like this that are all automated. Another thing would be like, if you're flagged as a bot, then we pull your resource credits. So if you want to keep being a bot, now you got to buy a bunch of Hive, power up some resource credits, and that's like your barrier to entry to be a bot and post 1,000 threads a day. So that's where things kind of get really interesting when you're building on a blockchain like Hive. Hive has built some of the best technology imaginable for social applications, but in my opinion, nobody has really leveraged what it's capable of and created something that's like a viable social application. Like all we've had up until Project Blank has been long form content. You got to create 1,000-word blog post. If you create a 100-word blog post, you might get downvoted. People might give you shit for it. If you post a picture of your cat, people might get mad at you. You might get downvoted.
Damn cat haters.
Yeah, they all hate the cat. And the minimum amount of effort that was required to be active on Hive from a social layer was extremely high. When it comes to long form content, you either have to read a long form post or write a long form post or do all of the above. And that's not what the average person does not want to do that. There's plenty of people on the internet that want to do that. And we still have long form content on LeoFinance. There's a place for that. But I would say 99.9% of people want to come in and they want it to be like TikTok, right? If you've ever used TikTok, you download the app, you create an account, you open it, and there's a For You page, and it just automatically starts showing you content. And you just like swipe of a finger, you're already looking through content within like 30 seconds. And as soon as you as you're scrolling, the algorithm is, watching how long are you watching things, are you liking videos, and then it starts to show you more of what you like based on those metrics. It dumbifies everything. And that's what the average person wants to be dumb. Let's just be honest about it.
Idiocracy. The algorithms are making us dumber. Skynet is coming.
Right. So we got to feed into that. If you want to build a good social app, you got to feed into what the people want, Gets
the people going.
It does. I feel like we quote that every single AMA now.
Right, it fits. I think it's more so I'm just ridiculous and I'm quoting Idiocracy and I'm and Blades of Glory pretty much every time. So over in YouTube, we got some people hanging out. Zelly asked, when will we be able to do rethreads?
Good question.
I don't even know. Is that on the docket?
It is. Yeah, so rethreads are a little bit more complex than you might think, but there's basically this big update that we're working on right now. It's an update for LeoInfra, and what it includes is the onboarding methods, which is like Twitter, Facebook, Google login, phone number, email signups for Hive. It also includes a backend architecture for threads that allows a few different really cool features. And I talked about it in the @LeoFinance post yesterday. But a few of the features that are going to be rolled out right after this LeoInfra update is it's going to be polls. So you can do like Twitter polls, but on threads. And, Addicted wrote a post about it too. I'm very excited about polls. I think it's going to be super cool to have polls on threads. That's something that's also never been done before on Hive. Like you've had there used to be an app where you could do polls But Addicted made the point that when you have a separate UI for doing polls, that's not layered into the social experience. You know, people don't want to go to a UI that's just for polls. So they want polls to be integrated into a Twitter-like app. So that's what Threads is going to have. That's probably one of the next features we're going to roll out to open alpha. But along with that is going to be bookmarks, where you can, like, if you see a post that you like, but let's say you don't have enough time to read it because you're, you know, leaving the house or something, you can bookmark it, and then it gets added to your, that page is actually already live on the alpha UI. It's just not connected. So if you click it, it gives you an error, but it'll go to that. When you bookmark something, it'll go to that page, which will be like almost like a feed of all the things you've bookmarked ever. So that's super cool. The other feature is shortcuts. So if you've ever seen, you know, I haven't posted these in a long time, but if you ever saw the early days mock-ups of Project Blank, there was like this little menu in the bottom left. It's between, if you go to the UI now, it's between your user icon at the bottom and the post icon underneath the menu. There's another menu that goes there that's not released to open alpha yet. And it's called shortcuts, where you can basically add in like authors that you follow or certain tags that you follow, and you can create your own little shortcut list where you can just easily just jump into the, you know, the things that you use regularly. The way I came up with that was like, the way I was just thinking about, like, the way I use Hive is like, I'm typically going to like the same pages over and over again. You know, I'm like always going to the created feed. I'm always going to the, you know, the curated feed. I'm like, I tend to go to like the same authors when I want to read something, like Taskmaster, Addicted, Dolls, if I want reports, you know what I mean? So you, like, when I was thinking about my experience of Hive, that shortcuts menu seemed to make a lot of sense. So that's going to be one of the next updates to roll out with this Leo Infra update. And then my long-winded way of saying when rethreads. In order to have rethreads, we have to have this Leo Infra update. And the same goes for polls, shortcuts, and bookmarks. The Leo Infra update kind of enables all of those things to be possible because it rolls out a database. And that database is required for all those updates. So once we have that database out, then all of these things are actually pretty easy to add. We just got to kind of like hook them all in. So you'll see all that stuff kind of go live quickly. That's what the devs are focused on right now, is this this Leo Infra update.
Sweet.
Yeah, Jay Fuji.
Also,
The old threads
okay.
disappearing update, our problem is solved in the Leo Infra update. That includes like some scaling. That is kind of the old threads are disappearing is kind of a scaling problem, where basically the database or the way that the UI reads threads is getting overloaded because there's so many new threads. So it kind of has to get rid of old ones to make room for new ones. But this Leo Infra update includes a scaling update, which will fix all that.
What else we got here in YouTube? It would be a dream come true if an option to translate threads was created. That would be actually pretty cool. Then I could read the Spanish stuff.
That would be really cool. I mean, you can download plugins on your browser.
This is
for
true.
that.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I know.
If I'm being completely honest, that's not going to be
it's
one
not
of
a
the next
value add, I
features.
guess, because you can just, like I can go on Chrome and I can just basically hit the Google Translate thing.
100%.
What else do we have? It will be able in the future to upload image photos. Oh, interesting. Will there be the option where when you upload an image, it won't eat up character limits in the thread?
Yeah, we are working on that. There's a problem that needs to be solved. We actually had that for a little while on the production UI when we first launched threads. The problem with that is that if we completely get rid of that character account, then you can add like 1,000 images into one thread because there's no count, and then you can just dominate the feed. So the solution for that we're still working on is there's going to be a separate character count for links. So you'll have your normal 240. characters for like actual text. And then you might have like another, let's say, 120 or 240 characters that you can use for links.
Cool. I actually have my own question. Do GIFs work in threads? If
They
like, I
do. You
drop
can
in a link?
post, you just have to post the right type of like Imgur link or something, and they'll work.
Good to know. Yeah, I just
Yeah, but
basically
we are going to
drop.
add like we have GIFs and emojis on the production UI, and we haven't added that to alpha yet, but those will be on alpha in the Sooniverse.
Ooh, I like Jon Snow's question in YouTube, even though I think I know the answer. So said, what are the challenges you see on threads in the short term? Are you planning on creating another token for threads?
Good question. So that kind of
Project Blank token was nothing but a
Right.
tease to the cat.
that kind of also brings up the point of like rebranding and changing the name of LeoFinance, which a lot of people have asked.
Yes.
So I've
This
spent a lot of time thinking about this, talking to different people in the community. And to be honest, my mind can still be changed about this. So like I would say, until a really valid argument could be made that like growth is being hindered by us being, LeoFinance. I think we're going to keep the LeoFinance name and the Leo token name. And we're not definitely what's out of the question is doing a new token. I think we've all learned the lesson of like having too many tokens. And I think Splinterlands is learning this lesson, on their own right now, is like when you create too many assets, you start to have, the diminishing returns kind of start to kick in.
Yeah, you're diluting the pool.
Yeah, you're diluting everything, right? So yeah, Abdex said, I think changing the name destroys almost everything we built. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually think it will destroy everything we built, but I love the name LeoFinance. I think that the mission of democratizing finance, knowledge and access to it is awesome. Jay Fuji, I think we have a really cool brand. And I think there's plenty of other platforms that have shown that when you just create a competitor to something else, it's not always a good thing. Like, look at like Rumble, or, I don't even remember the names of like all these other Twitter competitors that came out, or like, Donald Trump created his own version. When they come out with like these products that are literally just like, we're a Twitter killer, I don't actually think that they end up doing all that well. I think there's something cool about being a little bit niche, like by having LeoFinance and having democratizing, knowledge and access to finance as like our niche, but then we still allow other forms of content. Like if you're on the platform, you can post pictures of your dogs, and like there's a hashtag dogs community out there of people that actually want to see that. But then we have really good filters on the UI where like, if you don't want to see dogs, then you don't have to, stuff like that. Like, I think that is the path forward. And just because something's called LeoFinance doesn't mean that you can't post a picture of your dog. But when we go out there into the world and we try to bring in new users by having a kind of like branded niche, I think that serves us a lot better than being, kind of like this like random name, like, oh, we're just here to beat Twitter. It kind of like, I think it kind of takes a lot of value away from you to just say, oh yeah, we're kind of out here to beat Twitter. I think that takes a lot of value away from what we're doing. And instead, I think what we're saying is, we're a Web3 platform. We have microblogging. It looks like Twitter. Like you come to it and you're like, oh, this looks kind of like Twitter, but it's called LeoFinance. There's a wallet page. I can create content. Looks like it goes onto some sort of blockchain database. It kind of like, it has a different kind of feel to it when you hit it, even though it looks like Twitter. I think an average person still looks at it and like, I think there's more to it than just Twitter, right? And I think that's a cool thing. So as it stands, I have no plans to change the branding. I think the branding is really cool, and I think there's a lot of value in being niche. And I would say one idea that is thrown out is creating a new token alongside Leo. That being said, if we were to rebrand, which there's no plan to right now, there would be a new token created instead of Leo, whatever that token was called. But if we did that, it would be a one-to-one airdrop to Leo, and it would replace Leo. So we would deprecate Leo and just take on a new name, basically. We basically just rename the current token, and all the tokenomics would remain the same, everything like that. So, I think we're trying to take away the concerns of like another token being launched, which I've seen a lot of stuff on Splinterlands and other projects where like, I think everybody's realized that launching all these tokens just doesn't work. And I know that we realized it too. So there's definitely no new token coming out where you're going to be like, oh, now I got to have this token in addition to Leo, in addition to Cub, in addition to Polycub. We're not in the business anymore of launching new tokens. If we do launch another token, it's going to replace one of the ones that already exists.
Well, so that's why I think, and this is my opinion, as far as like rebranding, right now, definitely not something to think about. I don't think it's a problem. But
Yeah, I
given
don't think it's
that
a problem.
Threads, and again, you got to let some time go by because right now Threads is the new hotness and that's on the forefront of everyone's minds. But it seems that, Threads is the main focus for LeoFinance. It is what can expand the user base and turn this into, a platform that has high volume and a lot of usage. So at some point, yeah, like if you're talking about just general public and like they see LeoFinance, I mean, their first thing's going to be like, oh, well, I'm not into financial shit. And the only way they're going to know better is if like someone tells them, more word of mouth, grassroots. And I agree with you. Like we don't need to have a full rebrand and a new token at all. That's why I'm almost like, in my opinion, maybe if it makes sense right now, it doesn't. But if we see evidence that, all right, we need to be a more ubiquitous type of name, then you go to something like Leo Threads, because it's like, all right, the UI makes sense. It's like, all right, Threads is basically like tweeting. I'm going to Leo Threads, and this Leo Threads has a Leo token. So you're not touching the token, you're not touching the tokenomics, nothing's changing. It's really more so just a UI change and maybe a little adjustment to the branding, but you're still keeping the same logo and everything. You're literally just changing a word, so to speak. So just my idea, something to keep in mind.
No, I think that's a good idea too. It's just, you're just saying, change the branding on the UI, but everything else is the same.
Yeah, you're literally changing nothing but, under the lion logo, maybe it says Leo Threads instead of LeoFinance. You can stick with the same branding color, the same, brand logo, the same token because it's still Leo, all the things. So it's kind of like a reboot than a rebrand. And just something to keep in mind. Nothing that we have to do now or even think about doing now. But I do think the niche is smart because you have to be super and it's funny because we're not even focusing on the niche, but generally that's like, I was listening to Tim Ferriss the other day and he talked about that. He's like, anytime you start something new, he's like, you have to be super niche. And then once you get traction in that niche and you become the name, then that's when you expand into all the other things. Right.
Yeah,
so content wise, we're expanding into all the other things, but name and branding wise, we're not.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a win or if it'll be confusing. I do know at least it will attract, the finance related folk. Who knows if those people will be confused or turned off by seeing all the other things or not. But either way, there's pros and cons, to all of it. And I think, as I said, kind of to start, kind of just see how it goes. And then from there, you can make a decision. But right now, definitely table that whole conversation and then revisit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And I saw some people agreeing with you that we should do like a, if it's called like Leo Threads by LeoFinance or like Leo Threads, a LeoFinance product, something like that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of options about that. But yeah, like you said, I really agree with you that you got to start niche. And then, once that starts to become a problem, then that's something to tackle. But right now, that's just not a problem.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just more about that, overall brand and, basically not having that exclusivity, so to speak, in terms of it just being general population, or just a generalized overall, topic, user base, whatever, which is not where we are right now, but is probably somewhere we're going to end up. And I'm hoping to get to the point where this conversation needs to happen again. And there is a need for a change, because if that's the case, then that means things are obviously going well and the user base is growing, and
Right.
we're getting feedback from, you know, people coming in being either a little confused or just like, so look for the good problems, essentially. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you
Growing
know,
pains are good.
exactly. So
Um,
coolness.
Speaking of growth, a Nomad Soul just pinged me that we now have 14 communities that are collaborating with Threads right now. Which is like, you know, we have all these different communities like the OCD community, you know, Gosh Token. What are some of the other ones? Eddie with the Spanish community. We've got 14 total communities now that have come to Threads and are bringing their communities to Threads. And in exchange, we've given them a 25,000, each of them a 25,000 Leo Power delegation, to kind of like get the ball rolling. And any of the communities that start to do well will kind of increase their delegation, you know. So like if, you know, Spanish community starts to do like really well, and they already kind of are, then we'll start to increase that from 25,000 to like 40,000, 50,000. So if you bring your community over, we're offering you a 25,000 Leo Power delegation. And the delegation is sent by, you know, there's a few different whales in the community that have offered, very graciously offered some Leo Power for the delegations. And then I'm delegating to some of them. You know, a bunch of whales have gotten involved, a bunch of Leo whales, in delegating Leo Power to these communities, to get them kind of off the ground and get Leo distributed to their community members who come to Threads and are active. So if you run a community or know someone who runs a community on Hive and you guys want to come to Threads and, you know, keep building your brand, then definitely reach out to @LeoGrowth on Discord or a Nomad Soul, and he'll get you hooked up with the delegation. Because, you know, that's the whole idea of Threads, is like bring everybody in the Hive community together, all sorts of different communities. Yeah, like Summer Truth is saying, like, love the idea of bringing communities together. They've always seemed to be on their own islands. So getting them together through Threads is just great to see. I agree. Like, the crazy thing about Hive is that we are like a group of like really connected individuals who are very separate, because like we all have like very separate interests. We're all on these different communities on Hive. We have all these, you know, dozens of Discord servers where we're all active. And I think Threads has the potential to be like that, you know, that woven web that, you know, everybody can go to and say, like, here's where the, you know, all the Hive communities kind of gather. I would love to see that. So, you know, if you're a community leader, know a community leader, part of a community, definitely reach out to Leo Growth or a Nomad Soul and get hooked up with that delegation. And then, you know, the more you grow, the more delegation we'll send you. So if you're already a community that's been onboarded, keep growing. So then we'll keep your delegation growing too.
Growth.
Let's see. Had a lot of questions from Threads too.
Oh yeah, I haven't even been looking. I mean, I'm in threading, but I haven't been looking in Threads. I think I've put like
There's
3
also
threads
this
up.
thread chain that or I guess the community has created a term called threadcast, which is when you're live threading in a thread chain. A lot of thread words here. But let's see what we got.
What is I get? Oh, I get thrown because I see Jon Snow in Discord, but
I got 2 questions related to mobile, so
put
I'll
in
answer
comments
both of
in
them.
chat. Yeah,
So
do that, and
Dagger,
then I got something from Jon Snow after that.
all right. Dagger 212 said Twitter is almost 100% mobile. When this goes mobile, the numbers could really jump in a hurry. I don't actually think that Twitter is 100% mobile, but I do agree that a lot of people are on mobile, and we need to definitely service them. The web app is actually built mobile first, but the mobile version isn't out, which is kind of counterintuitive. But you can use it on mobile, but the mobile update hasn't been rolled out to open alpha yet. So the, you know, the menu's on the left, but on the real mobile, it's on the bottom, and it looks a lot better than it does right now. But that is going to be rolled out in the near sooniverse. where you'll be able to thread from your mobile. That'll be kind of coinciding with that Leo Infra update where we'll add the other login methods like Hive Signer, Facebook login, Twitter login, email login. What else am I missing? Hive Auth mobile login. So we're adding a lot of stuff with that Leo Infra update. That's kind of like the Leo Infra update that we're working on is kind of like a lead domino for a lot of other stuff. So just be on the lookout for that. Once that rolls out, there's going to be like dozens of features that get rolled out right after it. So it is the lead domino. But Taskmaster asked similar question. Are you going to focus upon progressive web application as opposed to mobile? That seems to be what some apps are doing to get around Apple. Yeah. So one narrative that I've talked about a few different times on this AMA is that the app stores, especially Apple, are kind of like under a lot of fire right now for being, kind of like they're under like antitrust, basically like fire, right? So like governments are going after them, companies are going after them. You saw this huge thing with Epic Games and they were going after Apple. And then Apple was talking about removing Twitter from the App Store after Elon took it over. It was and is a problem to be, at the behest of these app stores. You don't want to be, and the fact that we are in crypto, we're in Web3, we are already on the fringe, and like at any time, any of these platforms can just decide, hey, we don't want you on here anymore. They can, like, the fact that we are also on the fringe, in addition to like even big like if Twitter can get removed from the App Store, which it didn't, but if it could, just imagine how easy it is for them to say, oh, hey, Threads, get off the platform, So we don't want to be, or look at like the Super Bowl, right? FTX collapses. Last year was like the year of crypto for the Super Bowl. Like I don't even know what percentage of ads during the Super Bowl were crypto related, but it was a lot. This year there were zero because they decided, hey, no crypto ads. So being at the behest of any platform is a problem, especially when you're building in this type of industry. So focusing on the web app is something that I've decided is extremely important. I want the web app to be, whether you're on mobile or desktop, to be extremely easy to use, be really intuitive, and be amazing. That being said, we also have the Leo mobile app that we're still working on. And the new alpha UI is written in a coding language that can be easily, it basically can be easily ported into a native iOS or Android app. So the native apps will come, but the focus is always going to be on the web app. Because if we do get removed from Apple, and we've actually had a pending application to like go to the Apple App Store, and we still haven't gotten approved. It's been like 8 months. We're on the Android App Store. But it just goes to show you that a robust web app is the path forward, in my opinion. But that being said, still having a mobile app is definitely a priority for me. One of the big reasons why mobile apps are great is like push notifications. So I definitely still see the value of a mobile app. So I don't want to get away from the idea of like, I'm not telling you guys we're never going to have a mobile app, but I'm telling you guys that the web app is the focus. And I think there's a good reason for that. And I hope you guys agree. And if you don't, you can let me know. But I just don't trust these app stores. I have very little trust for them.
Yes. Fight the powers that be.
It's like that Apple commercial, ironically, from, what was it, from 1989?
Wow, you're gonna quote something from 89? I'm impressed.
I do know Apple. I know Apple well. I read the Steve Jobs biography.
I have not.
It's a good one. That's actually a good one. If you like audiobooks, I love that on audiobook format.
Okay.
It's Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. It's a great audiobook. It's like 28 hours long or something.
Damn.
It's a long one.
I do prefer biographies when it comes to audiobooks, so.
I got some good biographies on Audible.
So John was saying you may consider hashtag #Espavlog for delegations. I'm part of the team, and you'll see Espa vloggers sharing their threads anytime soon. I'm sure I butchered that tag, but
Is that a community?
yeah, I guess so. It looks like it. I don't know if yes. John said yes.
Yeah.
What
If you
else we
guys,
have?
what are they asking?
I think delegations to the community.
Yeah, just reach out to, so you can see Leo Growth is in the Discord chat right now, or a Nomad Soul, either one of them.
That would be the
Um,
man to pitch.
that is the man to ask, and then he will get you hooked up. Morty, we'll see you later. See you next week.
What do we have here? He also said Hive's red carpet is a nice option too. They're having a Miss Hiveverse like contest that's gonna kick that's gonna
Like
kick
that.
ass. That's
That's cool.
great. Miss Hiveverse, really? Is that happening? Is there enough women in the Hive community for that? I mean, there is now, obviously, but I'm just having fun. That is quite interesting. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
That's cool. That sounds
Newtown,
fun.
same story.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Interesting indeed. All righty. I think I'm caught up in the different chats. I haven't really added much more to the recap. I think I got the important stuff. Otherwise,
Taskmaster
just a
said
recap.
14 communities collaborating with Threads is a good start. It's great that they are delegated LP. Also nice to see they can increase it through success. Yeah, if they're successful, if they bring in community members, if we see that their tag is trending consistently, kind of like, I think Spanish is probably the best example of this. You know, they're the #3 trending tag right now, and I see a lot of people in the community getting active, thanks to Eddie. So I do think we'll increase that delegation. So that's like a good template to use. Taskmaster said he'll also delegate. So thank you. I'm sure Nomad Soul will ping you at some point when we get to 25 communities that need delegations. How many communities are out there on Hive? 14 is great, but it seems like there are dozens more from Dagger 212. Yeah, I think there's plenty of other communities out there that haven't, come to Threads yet. So, and even, like, we've got Posh, we've got Gosh, we've got OCD. Like, there's a lot of like big communities that I don't think have adopted Threads yet. Or even look at like Splinterlands. Like, why don't we see, a bunch of leaders from the Splinterlands community on Threads and, posting about Splinterlands, posting updates, posting, screenshots of games that they've won. There's so many layers to this Threads onion that we can peel. There's a lot of threads we could pull off of the spool. I think we're just kind of at the beginning stages of really figuring out what Threads can be leveraged into. We've created something really cool here as like a base layer that can be built on, right? Yeah, Photography Lovers has 17,000 subs. So here's part of the branding issue, right? That we've actually been doing a pretty good job. Like, a Nomad Soul's killing it on this front, is like teaching people that LeoFinance is no longer just for finance and crypto like it was in the beginning. There's now with Threads, there's a place for people who just want to post, their photography pictures and build out the photography, hashtag. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different communities and people that people are talking about. And if you have any connection to them, reach out to them and tell them and put them in touch with the Nomad Soul. And there's plenty of Leo power out here to delegate. I'm willing to delegate all of my Leo power to these communities. And I know that there's a lot of people like Taskmaster, One Alpha, Addicted, and plenty of others who are more than happy to delegate Leo power to all these different communities. Yeah, I wonder how many, like, we just jumped from 500 to 750 monthly active users. I wonder how many monthly active users we could get if we onboarded like all of the Hive communities, you know what I mean? Or like a super majority of them. I would bet we could see 2,000 plus monthly active users on Threads, just from being on Hive alone, not including that we're going to be aiming at like we're starting with Hive communities, then we're going to go outside of that box and look at communities that are active on like Twitter. You know, like imagine that we go after like the Thorchain community and we say, hey guys, like come over here, talk about Thorchain. You can brand better. You can, you know, you can get more people onboarded to your project. You know, we still need that base layer of like 2,000 monthly active users to get other communities excited to come over. So that's why we're really focused on getting people who are already on Hive. But after that, you know, I mean, tackling these other communities outside of Hive, I think the community onboarding idea is just amazing. The impact of just getting one good community is like hundreds of monthly active users. And that's awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I mean, I see someone talking about, you know, deranged visions and that he's swamped and, you know, really busy. That's the cool thing about threads. And trust me, I know about being like really busy, but I think the cool thing is like, if you bring over your community and you guys just start using a hashtag, you know, you could be investing 2 minutes a day in, you know, creating a thread and just, you know, maybe upvoting a couple of threads. Like it doesn't take a lot of, it's a lot different than normal Hive social interactions where threads does not require a lot of investment from a time perspective.
Hey, Cal, take a look at my second comment in the Zoom chat. I was curious, so I looked into it real quick.
Oh yeah, it's interesting.
I was kind of surprised, but not surprised.
Yeah,
at least
I mean, here's my one thing about that is like, I think if we were to go that route, I don't know that that's what I would choose. You know what I mean? I think we would go for something that's a little bit more broad.
Gotcha.
I actually,
Damn,
I remember looking at it though, and I wonder if I did. I can't remember if I pulled the trigger on it or not. I'm gonna have to log into my
Hopefully
account
you
and
did.
see. Yeah, I don't remember if I
That's
pulled the trigger.
that's what I was trying to figure out before I went and locked up the other side just to make
Yeah,
sure it's available to us.
yeah.
But I don't
I
need
mean,
to.
yeah. No, that's a good
That's
idea though.
funny.
But I do think we would go for a different one, you know,
Interesting.
because I think it's too
Kinda.
similar. It's too similar. Everyone's asking what the secret talk is.
I know we got a
Yeah.
little cagey talk. You're being a little cagey right now. I agree with you, but I guess I don't. I mean, that was, you know,
It is cool though. Like I'm not
I'm trying to
against it.
figure out what could be more broad yet still like stay with the same theme.
Right.
Now I'm just being cagey because I'm like, can't give anything away.
I know.
Anyway, whatever. That's nor here nor there. It was just something that popped in my head and figured I'd try and lock it in before things disappear.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. So I mean, we're a little after 2 o'clock now, so we've been going about an hour or so. Let me check YouTube for any more questions. Oh, we got Hive is good used on Twitter, so bringing threads is very like a Twitter, maybe organic and maybe easier than expected. I actually agree with Jon Snow on that. That bringing people from Twitter can be very organic and a lot easier than expected. 100%, especially
Yeah,
when
especially
people
with
come over and it's like the same experience. They don't have to.
exactly. Especially
Easiest way to
with
sell somebody.
the Twitter light accounts, once those are live, I mean, they'll literally be able to click a button and it'll sign them in with their Twitter account. I mean, within 30 seconds, they'll be using Leo threads.
And that actually goes back to something that people keep forgetting. And you were mentioning the Hive blockchain earlier when it comes to like, you know, Web3, social media. It's baffling that, well, it's not baffling. It's because Hive's not really on any major centralized exchanges, but it's baffling that, you know, Hive hasn't gotten more love than it, you know, has over the last 3 years or however many years since the fork happened. Given that, unlike a lot of other cryptos, you can do everything by a username. Like you're sending, like if you send Hive to your wallet, you're not sending it to some random wallet address. You're literally sending it to your username.
Yeah.
And that is literally probably the most important thing for crypto adoption. Like people don't want to deal with wallet addresses. They want to just send them like, hey, yes, send me some Hive. My name is,
Right.
John Doe 857. Like, done.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a matter of time. You're going to see that more and more. I think that's going to become more and more common in like the crypto ecosystem and just the tech, because it is a barrier of entry, at least when it comes to social media. If you're talking about like whatever, you just got your Bitcoin and you're investing, blah, 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 blah. But that's such a huge advantage that Hive has that not many other blockchains have. I mean, that's a small subset of blockchains. I think it'll become popular once we steal everyone from Twitter.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the other blockchains are like, wait, we don't have usernames.
Yeah, Hive has a lot of technology that is under leveraged, and I think Threads finally brings that into where it needs to be.
Good old
But yeah,
Threads.
I think yeah, Solomon asked if we're gonna have a Leo glossary implementation, and we are. I have something really cool planned for that. So stay tuned, Solomon and Taskmaster. Got something really cool in this universe.
The good old Sooniverse.
Sweet.
What do we got? Just found out about Leo TV chat. Was feeling alone on. That's funny. Yes, John. The Discord shot is way more robust. I actually remember to go over to YouTube just in case people are hanging out there. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a chore for me, but I do it because there's always some people hanging out over in YouTube land. So cool. All right. Well, another awesome week of growth in the Leoverse. So I will hit the publish button here on the recap post.
Sweet.
And feel free to vote the cat.
Vote the cat. Vote the cat.
Vote the cat. As I continue to donate my time to this AMA. Guilt trip.
Hashtag
Guilt
vote
trip.
the cat.
Hashtag guilt trips.
I always vote the cat big. Hope you guys do too. For his generous time donation to the AMAs.
We have, oh, actually one more Tuesday. So last day of the month
Sweet.
will be the next AMA. Short
Sounds
month,
good.
28 days in good old February. Let me drop this into chat. The recap post is up. So if any of your
Awesome.
friends missed the show, in fact, I'm even going to drop this into YouTube. I'm dropping links into the YouTube chat. Come on, YouTube, come and hate. I quoted several tweets and mentioned Hive. When I checked for those tweets, they were not visible. Interesting, Soli. Interesting.
Yeah. Definitely possible.
And yes,
The beauty of Web 2.
Correct. We can spread the word in places other than Twitter. Exactly. So for any of you old school Reddit people, start spreading the word on Reddit. And obviously Facebook we can do.
%.
All right. So final parting words, as I just was given this information from a nomad soul. There are 14 communities that are collabing with Threads at the moment and have a Leo delegation. So if anyone wants to bring their community in, hit up Leo Growth or a Nomad Soul in Discord. And I actually in the recap post mentioned about communities and hitting up Leo Growth if they want to get involved on the platform and potentially get themselves a delegation. So there you go. 14 communities and counting. You could be number 15.
You could.
So, and then what do we have? What does he say? Free Speak CTT show and Leo invited this Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. They'll live thread the show. Be there. All right. Sounds like this is going to be some fun at 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturday with Free Speak and Leo.
Yep. I will be there. 11 a.m. PST. Live threading. and Twitter. I think they usually do it on Twitter. So Twitter Spaces plus live threading of the event.
There you go.
Might have some
We-
announcements, so don't miss it.
And we got in all the announcements. Can we have UTC? Yes, it's called Google and PST to UTC.
It's called 11 a.m. TST to UTC on Google.
I'm so
I
sure.
honestly
I'm
have
so
no idea.
someone's. I'm so sure. I can't talk. I'm sure someone is going to end up putting it in.
Yeah. PST
Yes,
sounds like
onboard.
post-traumatic stress. Very true.
It does. Pacific time. I guess those 3 speak guys are out on the West Coast.
Sweet. Well, we'll see you guys. What is it? Tuesday, February 28th.
That is indeed. Oh yeah, good old Mexico.
Sweet.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next Tuesday. And we're aiming for noon. We'll try and be on
Noonish.
time next week.
Noonish in this universe.
Exactly. Calendar.
All
All right,
right.
everyone. Be good.
See ya.
Later.